Hello and welcome to Africa Today. I am Esther Mokwariola. Africa is a continent on the move where beyond the burden of development and the failings of government, nature and culture combines to create a timeless appeal for historians and a museum for curiosity of travelers. The continent is home to a wealth of archaeological sites, historic monuments, beautiful coastlines and breathtaking landscapes. Its mountains, waterfalls, lush vegetations and wildlife help to connect the dots and fill up the spaces of nature. And so we ask, what are your thoughts on the state of tourism and travel in Africa? You can join the conversation and share your thoughts with us on Twitter at TVC News NG. We take a report and Africa Today will continue. Welcome on board.
It is my honor to read for the third time a bill for a law to provide for the establishment of the Lagos State Tourism Promotion Agency and for connected purposes.
After 2 years of legislative tinkering, the bill to establish the Lagos State Tourism Promotion Agency was finally passed into law. It seeks to make Lagos a major tourism destination.
What do we do in other clients when we travel there? It's just to make sure that we, enjoy the tourist attractions in those countries. So why can't we develop our the tourist centers in Lagos State? You understand? And we cannot just develop it in vacuum. So we need law to do it, and that's why the State House of Assembly has taken it upon itself to pass this law.
The state government is worried Lagos waters and its many tourist potentials are not being put to maximum use.
Lagos, we have what we call tourist attraction site centers within the state, but we have not really captured it the way it has been captured, like if you go to Dubai and if you go to Saudi Arabia, you understand? So after looking at the potentials of the state in terms of tourists in Lagos State, looking at Ilegushi Beach, looking at Atikan Beach, looking at our Eyo Festival, the only way we could do now is to establish an agency, you understand, that will be saddled with that responsibility of taking up that challenge to showcase the state domestically and internationally.
Look at London, as old as it is, a very old city. It's still the #1 attraction in the world. Everybody wants to be to London from all over the world. Look at New York. Look at as soon as Dubai is. Look at what it has become. But we need to work hard on Lagos, and Lagos can get it because Lagos has what it takes.
I paid a visit to this conservation center in Lekki, one of the many tourist attractions in Lagos. This German tourist, Enzo, is visiting Lagos for the first time with his friends.
Lagos is very interesting for me because we in Germany don't have those big trees, palm trees, jungle trees, and the local markets are quite interesting to see. It's a total new experience for me to be in Lagos here.
For me, Lagos is a very beautiful place because it's quite close to nature. You can see the real life of people. People are close to each other and it's not so isolated.
With the beautiful scenery in here, one can only wonder why several other tourist sites in the state aren't fully explored. Lagos lawmakers are confident the Tourism Promotion Agency law, if assented to by the executive, will promote the state and attract Nigerian and international visitors.
Well, before we get into the discussion of the day, let's update you on some of the top stories around Africa. South Africa's former Finance Minister Pravin Gordhan has appeared at an official inquiry into alleged corruption during the presidency of Jacob Zuma. 2 former heads of state have qualified for the second round of presidential election to be held on December the 19th in Madagascar. Kenyan President Uhuru Kenyatta has launched the country's first ever Coast Guard to protect and monitor its territorial waters. Now joining me to look at the state of travel and tourism in Africa, I have Oluwaseyi Adeyemo, publisher Inside Watch Africa. Good to have you here on the program.
Thank you for having me.
Esther, by the way.
Esther.
It happens. I get that sometimes. Now, Africa, we know, is a great travel gem.
Yep.
To be discovered, filled with abundant life and diverse aquatic life, and all that, what we know. But its tourism has been ranked pretty low compared to other cities across the world. What do you think is responsible for this?
I think as a people, we are not aware of the full potentials of tourism. And that's why we've not invested as much as we ought to. For the East and Southern Africa, they probably have a better idea than we have in West Africa.
Really?
Yeah, so that's why they've invested as much as they have invested in. Now, the way I usually describe tourism is this. God, in his infinite mercy, have apportioned and given to all of us, all over the world, enough to sustain us. Now, some of them were to draw from and eat and feed ourselves. Some of the things they've given to us free are things that we can leverage on such that other people can be attracted to and pay us just to come and see and experience. And so tourism for me is 70% sorted by God. In other words, everything that he wants to come see and enjoy is already done by God, is natural, is there. But that 30% is critical. Now, the reason why we're not deriving or enjoying the benefit of tourism like the rest of the world is doing in Africa, particularly in West Africa, is because as a people, we don't seem to understand that you cannot really be fed with food per se. Now, people can provide you with the food. People can give you all that you need. But you need to take the food from the plate and put it in your mouth. So I think we need to understand it from that perspective. And I think generally, I don't know why, but I know that when we started our history, our forefathers and founding fathers understood trade as a critical part of our lives, of our existence. And that's why you had all the trans-Sahara trade and all of that. But I don't know, it seemed to me that we became too preoccupied with leadership, and we begin to miss the fact that trade in itself is a critical part of leadership, because then if you're unable to feed your people, if you're unable to provide certain things for your people, then you're not offering the actual leadership. No, leadership is not about backing down or shouting down or being wealthy or being privileged. No. Leadership is about ensuring that certain things that the people need are provided. And one of the veritable source of providing that is tourism. Because like I said, people will naturally want to come see the other place, because it's always, whether nature or history or anything, the grass is always greener on the other side. So I will always want to go to Europe. I'll always want to go to other places. And like I want to, they want to as well. But they're not going to do it with the kind of infrastructure that we have
on the ground. Talking about infrastructure, you know, there's this perception that Africa has of being known for poverty, of being known for disease, of being known for insecurity, war, conflict, and all of that. Don't you think that perception, that narrative, perhaps gives that low ranking of tourism on the continent as in general?
The truth of the matter is, even that in itself is tourism. People would want to come and see that poverty. People will come and see that derivation. They just want to come. But the point is, when they come, how do they get to those points? How do they reach? You see, the reason why, look, let's just face it. The reason why people travel as much as they travel in the developed environment is because traveling is cheap and it's comfortable. Now, you cannot expect people to pay as much as we pay to travel within Nigeria, and you expect more people to travel. Even the so-called middle and upper class budget, they do, you know, some sum of calculations before they say, oh, I want to go to Abuja. Then you say, okay, so how much will it cost me to go to Abuja? Then you do your numbers, and that will naturally reduce. These are places we just need to just go to, because if you have rail and train working effectively as it ought to, you don't think about it. You just say, look, I want to go, and you go. And at some point in Nigeria, unfortunately, and in the rest of West Africa, that was the way it was. A lot of people used to travel around because it was a lot cheaper. People could go around and enjoy all of those things, but because you could just jump on the next bus, jump on the next train, and you could move around. We need to go back there. If you cannot connect people around, you will not have the kind of level of travel that will start to yield the kind of benefit that we all desire.
And talking about the benefit, how much of it has been harnessed in terms of our economic growth? Because from your analysis, definitely we've not done enough. But some African countries definitely would have done one or two things in terms of harnessing the potentials of this sector to their development.
I'm not very sure, but I know that it's about around 6% or 7% that we're doing globally in the share. You know, it's like a big share. And that is unfortunate, because even in the best of African countries that are investing as much as they ought to invest, or are investing more than we're investing in West Africa, the total sum is still between 6 and 7%. And that for me is unacceptable. We need to do more, because the truth is the share is there. You can have it. The truth is everyone would want to see the wildlife that we have, the green, lush vegetations that we have. It's something that people want to see. And we have such a beautiful culture. Woo, the kind of dance, the kind of things that we can share with the world. It is amazing. It is bad enough that we don't even appreciate it ourselves. You know, we're not proud enough to showcase it, to go around, and it is such a shame. Look, what I say, my conclusion is we're deriving or depriving the rest of the world that beauty, that experience that they deserve to have. Look, the truth is, at this point, we are committing a criminal offense by not allowing the rest of the world to get the Africa that they deserve to have. Africa is not just ours. Africa's is theirs as well, because they have a right to come and enjoy our green area, to come and enjoy our dance, to come and enjoy our story, to come and enjoy our history. Such a beauty and a waste at the same time. It is unfortunate.
Really? Well, we'll go further into the discussion after this break. You're watching Africa Today, and we'll be looking at the state of travel and tourism in Africa. According to statistics, tourism represents an estimated 10% of the world's GDP, which amounts to 1 in every 10 jobs, plus a gold mine of prospects and potentials Africa is yet to maximize. Now, besides poor infrastructure, insecurity has been identified as a major threat to the growth of tourism on the continent, especially in northern Africa, Mali, and the coastal regions of Kenya. Now, if peace and stability are known to be some of the factors which affects our level of growth in tourism and travel, why has it been so difficult to manage, knowing its potential, in any society?
Now, you see, when we talk about peace, I sometimes wonder, because you see, if you compare the level of peace that exists in Africa now to the one that exists particularly in America, for instance, and the level of tourists that are going tonight and are going to go tomorrow morning, it's worrisome, because then Africa is more peaceful than America.
How?
But do you know how many people die regularly in the past 3-4 weeks? Do you know how many people have been killed, have gone through schools to shoot and all of that? The truth of the matter is, how many people have you had in the real sense that have been, have you really had of people being shot at school, children killed in numbers, apart from some levels? You see, when you look at that number, what I'm trying to say is, I'm not saying that Africa is completely safe. I'm saying that we are paying too much attention to that, because let's be realistic here. Those things, without trying to sound hard, could leave tomorrow if we take care of certain things. A lot of the kind of killings that goes on here, compared to the ones that goes in America, are strong or related to people who are hungry and could be fed tomorrow morning. Not the one that people are full and they, out of sheer, I don't know what word to use, go to people's house and just go to kill them.
So in other words, are you trying to say it's the media that is at fault in trying to play more than it should?
Yes, I think as I belong to that realm. I think as people in the media in Africa, we have not done enough because we really don't even understand the power and potential of what we do. Look, all of those people have sold us a lot of story. I describe it as this way. We all have our pajamas and we have our party dress. Now, what the developed world have done is to always come to us in their party dress. And they come with looking good, and all of us imagine that that is the way they look even in the midnight. It is not true. They sleep, their mouth will smell, and all of those things. But unfortunately, we will go to the world with our pajamas and let them see how badly we are in our room. Some of the things that are meant for our rooms, we're sharing in the public.
Domain.
That is not what we ought to be doing. So let us take the blame as media and start to understand that we have a responsibility to our people and to our society to start to create story and deliver story in such a way that the rest of the world will see our good as well. Because in that Africa that is as bad is me and is Esther Omopariola. These are great people, and I believe that we will stand our own anywhere in the rest of the world.
Absolutely.
So if you start to compare us and give an impression that all other people are the only ones that are Africans, you're not being factual. Because I know a lot of Nigerians and Africans that are a lot better than I am, and if I am who I am, and some people are a lot better than I am, then Africa is filled with a lot of great people. But how much do we talk about them? That is what we need to do more.
Now let's take a look at the issue of African countries not able to harness, see the potentials, the possibilities of what tourism can do for its country or the continent in general. Now, if African governments fail in their responsibility to tap into what this sector has for its economy, what other alternative do we have that can be explored so we can, showcase our tourism potentials to the outside world?
The truth is, Africa, maybe because of the trouble we go through, should be congratulated or celebrated for the level of drive that private sector have given to a lot of things in Africa. But unfortunately, it would not show as much if there is the kind of debt that we run in the leadership that we ought to have. Because you see, as private concerns, you cannot provide certain things. You cannot provide mass transportation.
What if it was a public-private partnership?
It would be nice. In fact, that is another problem that you have just harped on. If, for instance, our leaders understand that sufficiently enough, they will bring some of those things to the table. Some things that are happening right now and will start to unfold in a short time from now is the fact that our government, particularly Nigeria, begin to understand that it can actually allow some private people to start to invest in certain things that they never used to allow them to. And you're going to see the kind of phenomenal development that is going to happen in short distance from now. So those are the things we should do more. Some of the money that they're wasting as private concerns in dealing with the shortcomings that our leaders have, they will prefer to have deployed it into taking part of the responsibility of government. As long as you work out an arrangement, say to them, let us give you a tax holiday, for instance, and take care of some of those roads and connect some of these dots. You will be amazed at the level and the speed with which, because the truth of the matter is, look, give an example of the trailers that are parked all over Lagos because of some of the bad roads that we have. Look, what you need to do is to tell those people that have their consignment there that, look, some of the money you're spending now, come and deploy them. They will deploy them tomorrow morning because it will cost them less in the short, medium, and long run if government allows them. The problem is also that government is not even sure of how to go about this. And it's quite simple. Just take them to the table and say to them, all right, you're expected to pay a certain number or amount of tax. For that reason, we want you to invest in all of these things because you understand them, because it beats you. These things are called direct tax. That's all it is. In other words, you want to go use this thing, so pay money to that thing so that you can start to benefit from that thing. Development will start to fly.
Well, now let's look at all the countries that have ranked, the list of trendiest travel destinations. Morocco ranks at number 7th among the top 10 cities around the world, especially known for its camel rides and also for its landscape, and also one United Nations World Heritage site, although I may not know the pronunciation correctly. But how much does this mean to you, first of all, as an African? And what would you like to see differently, knowing that African continent, an African country rather, is being ranked 7th among the top 10 of other cities in the world?
I feel very proud. I'm an African that believes in Africa. And I normally will say, if you go to my page, I'm on unapologetical African, because I believe through in Africa.
Right.
And so if it's happening, whether in the north, south, west, I'm proud to be associated with that. But what I would love is for it to spread. Because you see, the food is not sweet if it's just eaten in a certain place. It becomes exciting and very, very good to behold when you start to see it all over the place. So yes, I congratulate Morocco, and I'm happy, and I'm trusting that it will happen across the board. But as an African, I'm very proud for their achievement.
But would you rather see us to be number 1 than number 7?
Oh, certainly. I mean, the truth is, in tourism, Africa's got the potential to be number 1. Like I said, some of the things we can share, maybe because I'm an African, I think it would, the rest of the world don't have it. You might say that, because this African is so passionate about Africa. Yes, I am.
So what are those things that you think we can share, apart from what you mentioned earlier?
Food. I believe...
What particular food?
Okay, I'm Yoruba, but I love edikaikong. Edikaikong is a fantastic food. I mean, the taste, the way it rolls in your mouth, the aftertaste of it, you don't want me to start to talk about it. It's exciting. And I feel pain that we cannot take it to the level of Chinese food. We can. We have the food to take to that level. Fura de nunu. And
the list goes on.
And the list goes on. There's so much. I'm not even talking about Yoruba food already.
Right.
I'm talking about certain other foods in other areas. They're fantastic African food. And some of the ones that I've even eaten in South Africa, for instance, their pap is fantastic. We have amazing food in Africa.
Yeah,
and
I'd like to try one of those foods myself.
I think you should.
So which is your favorite destination and why in Africa?
I think everybody out there will know South Africa.
Really?
Fantastic place.
Why?
South Africa, to me, is that story of, it would have gone too, down deep. But it came out because certain people believed in that space and they turned it around. Now they're investing heavily in infrastructure. They're investing in human resource. They're developing their people. They're training their people. The kind of offering they have, it is first class. To me, it is an African destination, maybe because I go there regularly, that I will want to showcase to the rest of the world anytime, any day.
Well, let's hope that the rest of Africa gets to benefit from the potentials of the tourism and travel, and we get to be number 1, perhaps, in future years to come.
I
very
hope so,
soon.
and very soon.
Thank you very much, Oluwaseyi Adeyemo, publisher, Inside Watch Africa. We appreciate your analysis on Africa today.
Thank you for having me.
At a point in time when Africa needs to diversify her resources to boost resources, tourism holds a great potential for nations to close the gap on inequality and eradicate poverty. Consolidating on the continent's rich cultural heritage and the natural beauty means the tourism sector must be sustainable enough to kickstart the next phase of socio-economic development. And that is our package for tonight. But don't forget to join the conversation as usual on Twitter at TVC News NG, and also follow me for updates around Africa at Esther TVC News. Until the next one again, I am Esther Mokwariola, and always remember, Africa can only get better.